I monetized this channel in 90 days. And also, it doesn't really matter. But let's back up a bit. If you just started a channel or aspire to get into YouTube, chances are monetization has been touted as the holy grail. And no shame in having that goal. But here's the thing I want to drive home in this video. YouTube monetization is great, but honestly, it's way overhyped. So if that ends up being the central goal of your channel, sure, you'll make a few bucks, but chances are you're going to miss out on the bigger opportunities on this platform. And beyond that, I would argue you'll end up building something that's going to be a lot more challenging to sustain long term. So in this video, I'm going to break down how I monetized this channel in 90 days while planning for sustainability, how I was already set up to earn before that, and hopefully help creators not hyper-focus on monetization. What's up guys, I'm Jonathan, and on this channel I share creator tips, tools, and reviews from my perspective, so hopefully that helps you make better content from yours. So if you're into that, do something with those buttons if you like. Let's get into it. So if this is your first time here, I just started this channel a few months ago, primarily focusing on creator tips and small camera reviews. And within the first 10 videos, I was able to get a few of those to get up to 1,000 views or more, really helping to set some momentum early on. And then on the 10th video, let me tell you, that thing took off. So we're gonna circle back to that here in a bit, but I just wanted to set the tone. All right, real quick, I just wanna talk about YouTube monetization, what it takes to get there, what it really means, and I just wanna do it from a real talk perspective. So the classic way to get monetized is with 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, but if you've been watching YouTube for a while, you've probably heard of those requirements, and if you have a small channel and you're trying to get monetized, I mean, it is a worthwhile goal. It's kind of that first threshold to really know if it's worth taking seriously or not, so I totally get that. Where I think sometimes in this conversation, expectations are kind of incorrectly set is how exactly financially important or impactful YouTube monetization or AdSense really is. Let me give you a couple examples of what I mean. So prior to this channel, I have another YouTube channel that I started for my real estate business, and I've been doing this a little over 3 years now, so that is still my main channel. Now, I got that channel monetized. I think it took me a little under 8 months, and it now has somewhere around 3,600 subscribers. So on that channel, the primary strategy is leveraging YouTube to monetize my business, whereas you might think of something a little more traditional with an influencer where they are leveraging YouTube to monetize as a creator. And believe it or not, those are two very different strategies. However, they both take a similar understanding of how the platform works. But to help you understand, on that channel in 2024, I generated right around 125,000 long form views, allowing me to sell nearly $6 million in real estate that generated around $150,000 in gross commissions for my business. And that was all strictly through YouTube. Now, in contrast, those 125,000 views generated a little over $800. Now, if I were to go chase the views that it would take to generate the same $150,000 in revenue for my business, I would likely have to go so wide, I would be missing the ideal clients that would allow me to sell that $6 million in real estate. All right, so I'll give you another couple examples. There is a YouTuber I've been watching for several years, kind of started in the fitness space. His name is Max Tuning. Maybe you've heard of him. Now, according to Social Blade, Max Tuning has 386,000 subscribers. Monthly, he's getting right around 260,000 views. And so when they estimate the earnings through YouTube AdSense, they're estimating at $65 to $1,000 per month. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that exactly is. I've actually heard Max talk about this on his channel. He mentioned that he makes somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 in YouTube AdSense per month. However, he was routinely at that time, I believe, making anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000 per month doing brand deals and affiliate sales. If he was only making videos to live solely off the AdSense that YouTube pays you, even with somebody who's got nearly 400,000 subscribers, not going to be enough to pay the bills alone. But he wisely learned that there were better ways to monetize those views by, creating something of value that his audience wanted from him. In 2019, he started a little company called Sour Strips. They've absolutely blown up. He really grew his business by leveraging relationships and influencer marketing. Literally, before you know it, he was getting calls from Target and Walmart. In 2024, Max sold his company to Hershey's for a reported $75 million. Now, I'm not suggesting you start a candy company and leverage YouTube to do so, but what I'm really trying to get you to do is see that there's a lot of opportunity here on YouTube that is well beyond what YouTube AdSense can pay.
Basketball stupid, working out stupid.
All right, so here's another example, more in the creator tips, cameras, kind of more in the space that I'm building this channel in. And this YouTuber, his name is Terry Warfield. I'm actually a pretty big fan of him. I find him hilarious. Tight shirt Terry Warfield, you know what I'm talking about.
What's good, y'all? This is Tight Shirt Terry Warfield. Slide in your way. That was so cheesy.
Anyway, he's built a really cool channel. I love what he does, and he does some really cool reviews of cameras, but also teaches about vlogging and just overall creator tips. Now, Terry, earlier this year, I think maybe it was the beginning of this year, did a video talking about the actual money that he makes, and he did a really great breakdown. I'll put a link in the description for that video. So according to Social Blade, monthly he's getting somewhere around 600,000 views. That's probably a mix of long form and short form. I know he mostly does long form, but he does both. And it says that he earns somewhere between $150 and $2,400 per month. And based on that video, that sounds actually pretty accurate. He said he made somewhere around $125,000 last year gross for his business. And the two smallest sources of income for him were digital sales and YouTube AdSense. He said he makes around $1,000 per month in YouTube AdSense. Now, Terry Warfield has just over 100,000 subscribers. Now, let me know in the comments, does that surprise you? Now, no disrespect, he's making pretty respectable money, but that's a pretty small percentage of what his overall earnings are. The bulk of his earnings come from brand deals and affiliate sales. Which reminds me, this video is definitely not sponsored, so I would encourage you to take a look at the affiliate links below if you're looking to make your next purchase. It's a great way to support the channel, and I certainly appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about why I started this channel. So like I said, I have this other channel for my real estate business. So it's a lot of fun, but what I learned from doing that channel over the last 3+ years is that I really like making content. And so I found myself wanting to talk about that kind of thing. So naturally, when I started, according to Jonathan, it really wasn't just about cameras, it was about the whole creation process. But my goal, much like probably many of you, was to first get monetized. And again, I know I said that it doesn't really matter, but to be fair, it still does sort of perceptively matter to those who you might build relationships with. I mean, brands still care how many subscribers you have to some degree, and an audience does. I mean, when you click on a video, maybe you think a little differently if they've only got, I don't know, 50 or 100 subs versus a couple thousand. But beyond that, my goal was to really build a connection and trust with an audience, and that's gonna take talking about things that I actually care about. The truth is that connection is really what fundamentally I think should be the focus. Okay, so my first video on this channel I uploaded on July 9th of this year. Now, fast forward 90 days later, I was getting monetized, which was a little faster than I anticipated, but I definitely thought it would be faster than my first channel, which took, 7 or 8 months. So like I said, I started by talking about things that I really enjoyed, like content creation and cameras and tools that I use. In fact, I did a long time review of this camera right here. This is a DJI Action 4, and truthfully, I think it did a couple hundred views in that first week and a half, and I was pretty pumped about that. On my first channel, I was surprised when I'd get 40 or 50 views in the first week. So I already felt like I was starting off with a better baseline, and I kind of leaned into that a little more. The next thing I did was, a long time review of the DJI Pocket 3, which I'm sure you all know is a very popular camera. So after those first couple of videos, sort of setting the foundation and telling the algorithm, what the audience can expect from us. Because remember, the algorithm has zero data on your channel, so you kind of have to tell them who your content is for. But I definitely don't think you should super pigeonhole yourself, but it's very important to kind of stick to somewhat of a bit of a lane in the beginning. So going into this third video, I decided, well, I should probably stay within the lines a little bit, but I can get a little more creative with the title. And honestly, SEO isn't as important as it used to be. It really is very important in the beginning to kind of establish what the content is about, but ultimately you're really trying to get YouTube to serve your content on the homepage and in suggested, and that's ultimately done with more creative, curiosity-driven titles and really great thumbnails. So in this one, you'll notice I got a little more creative with the use case of the Pocket 3 and, a little more clever title and thumbnail. From there, I leaned into the accessories for the Pocket 3, and I eventually made a comparison of the Action 4 and the Pocket 3. Again, staying within the lines, but trying to get a little more creative with the titles. And among those uploads, I had the first couple videos that crossed 1,000 views, which felt like I had a lot more momentum going into this channel versus my first channel. Now, mixed in there, I had a couple brands I reached out to, did some videos featuring some accessories on some cameras I'm already using, but I made sure to sneak a video in that was a little outside of the lines from the small camera videos I'd been making, because I noticed a couple comments had mentioned my talking head setup here in the studio, so it gave me a great opportunity to talk about it. And I do think it's ultimately really important this early on, after a couple of establishing videos, to sort of broaden it just a little bit. So through the process of having my other channel, I've been an Amazon associate for a while, and all that really does is allow you to create affiliate links for products if you ever need to use that. But as a result of that, I was already starting to use that a little bit with this channel. And honestly, when I would get something like a new accessory, I would just talk about it. And at some point, I was audacious enough to reach out to a couple smaller brands brands. And you know, it's not easy to get money early on when you don't have a ton of subscribers, but sometimes you can get some free products. Fast forward along the way, I was introduced to a brand broker. They work on behalf of brands to find influencers to talk about their brand. And this really interesting product came up. It's called the Extra Muse. It is an identical clone of the DJI Pocket 3. And when I saw that this brand broker had that, I was like, I need that. Do you have anybody to make a video for that yet? And strangely, she didn't, so she sent it out to me. Now here I was, a YouTuber with a brand new channel, barely had 200 subscribers, but I did have a few videos, a couple of which had already passed 1,000 views, and more importantly, I had the balls to ask for it. Funny enough, I'm actually using it right now as my beat camera. How you doing, little guy? So anyway, strangely, nobody was talking about this camera on YouTube yet, and I saw this as a massive opportunity. So I pushed back the plans that I had for my next video, and I got to work. Now, here's where I could have made just a very basic video comparing the Pocket 3 with this Pocket 3 clone, but I also assumed that's what everybody else is gonna be doing. And I wanted to tell a story. To me, the obvious eyebrow raiser was, who actually made this thing? Why is it so suspiciously close to the Pocket 3? And let's be honest, did DJI actually make this thing? That angle just felt way more interesting and really opened the door for a much more creative title and thumbnail concept. And let me tell you, that is crucial. Some of you likely found me because of that video, and yeah, it definitely helped me hit monetization faster than I would have otherwise. Was there luck involved? Absolutely. But I would also say that my experience on YouTube to this point definitely gave me the skills to package a really interesting story around this camera. I knew I could make something that could stand up next to the creators I've been watching for a long time in this camera space. I just happened to get the opportunity to make it a little sooner. Since then, a huge channel that I've been watching for a very long time, Think Media, actually featured some of the clips in my video for their comparison, which by the way still doesn't have as many views as mine. I'm sure it'll pass it at some point. But that was super flattering, and it all kind of just happened because I started this channel wanting to talk about things that I had really genuine interest in. What's crazy is at the time of filming this, that video has done a little over 125,000 views, which is as many views as my other channel got all of 2024. Now, unfortunately, most of those views came before I was monetized, but I at least had the foresight enough to generate some affiliate links for those items I was talking about. Briefly mentioned that the links were down below, and by the time I got monetized, that video had already earned me over $1,500. At this point, I think it's just past $2,500 in commissions from affiliate sales, which is pretty amazing. So naturally, a video doing that many views had a ton of comments and led to a ton of questions. So it kind of gave me a natural progression into making a follow-up video, but it was also important to pivot after that and not just get sucked into a bunch of consecutive small camera reviews. I've got a lot more to share with creators. If there's ever a good time to broaden the definition of your audience to the algorithm, it's definitely early on. So I hope there's a lesson here for you, and I think there's really a lesson for me as I'm making this video, is that this very video honestly may not get very many views at all, but the whole purpose for this video is to discover that you have to kind of lean into the things you're interested in talking about, and that for me is a lot of things along the spectrum of content creation. And I want to have those options open before YouTube corners me into this,
you must talk about small cameras and only small cameras.
So if you're out there and you've got a new channel and you're working towards monetization, I'm rooting for you. But don't get lost in the sauce. At the end of the day, people follow you for you. Just remember, the algorithm should be a map, not a trap. And I know that sounds super cliche, but just remember that one. To show my commitment to making a broader range of content for my fellow small camera nerds, I've got a couple videos on the screen right now. This is how I unlock the full potential of the DJI Pocket 3. And if you'd like to learn how to up your talking head studio game, check that one out right there. And as always, guys, until next time, go make something rad. See ya.